Track 2.7 Unit 8 Lesson 1 Activity 2
The Perfect Swan. There was once a Chinese emperor named Zhang Wei. He was a strong and powerful man, but he was also kind and took care of his people. However, there was one problem. He had a bad temper and became angry very quickly. Zhang Wei loved art. He owned thousands of paintings, but he always wanted one more. One day, he asked his assistant Hong, "Who is the most famous painter in China?" "His name is Cheng Li," replied Hong. "He's the best artist in the country." "Excellent," said Zhang Wei. "Do you think he could paint a beautiful swan for me?" "If you ask him, he'll paint any animal you like," replied Hong. Zhang Wei invited the artist Cheng Li to his palace. "Cheng Li," said Zhang Wei, "will you paint a picture of a swan for me?" "Of course," replied Cheng Li, "but it will take some time." "I understand," said Zhang Wei. "You can stay at the palace until you finish the painting." After 1 year, Zhang Wei visited Cheng Li in his room at the palace. "Cheng Li," said Zhang Wei, "is my painting ready yet?" "I'm sorry," said Cheng Li. "Swans are not easy to paint. I'm going to need more time. Could you please come back in another year?" 1 year later, the emperor returned, but the painting still wasn't ready. Zhang Wei was furious. "I'll give you 1 more year," he shouted. "If my painting isn't finished, you'll be sorry." Another year later, Zhang Wei came back to collect the painting. Cheng Li put a large sheet of paper on the table. Then he took a brush and some ink and painted the most beautiful swan the emperor had ever seen. Zhang Wei was astonished. "That is perfect," he cried. "It's magnificent." But Zhang Wei was still furious. "I've waited for 3 years," he shouted, "and you painted this swan in 2 minutes. How dare you make a fool of me?" He was so angry that he sent Cheng Li to a land far away and told him never to return to China. A week later, Zhang Wei told his servants to empty Cheng Li's room in the palace. Zhang Wei was astonished when his servants found thousands of paintings of swans. The emperor suddenly realized his mistake. Cheng Li wasn't slow or lazy. He had practiced every day for 3 years until he learnt how to paint the perfect swan. Zhang Wei had made a terrible mistake because of his bad temper. He sent a message to Cheng Li to say sorry and invited him to come back to China. Cheng Li forgave Zhang Wei and returned to live in the palace as the emperor's royal painter.